Hey everybody, this is Seth Keeping It Real, coming live to you from warm Hawaii, and Emily is live to you from New York, where it is not very warm. Hey everybody, this is Seth All right, give me 1 second, guys. All right, so I hope you guys can hear me okay. Now, this is a little bit of a challenge, I'll tell you guys, because we have tried so hard, and first of all, I apologize for the delay. Thank you for your patience. It is so hard to get good internet here in Hawaii. As much as I love Hawaii, one of the frustrations is it's really hard to get excellent internet. So I've tried 3 different internets today, and hopefully this will work. But if you can't hear me and it's too choppy, I don't want you to be frustrated. Emily promised she would just teach the rest of the time. She's got lots of content, and I will just go off video. So she's the backup plan, right, Emily?
That's right. No pressure.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Okay, cool. So guys, if you cannot see me or hear me well, please let me know, because I don't want to make sure this isn't choppy and that you guys can hear it okay. That's really, really important. I can even try turning off my video, and then you will not be able to see the the beautiful background. This is just a banner. I'm not really in Hawaii. It's just a backdrop. It looks really nice. And this really isn't a plant right here either. All right, you can hear me? It's good? Okay, give me feedback, guys. I really want to know, because I want you guys to be able to hear. You can hear okay? All right, cool. Great. All right, let's do this. Thank you for your patience, guys. So here's the big question today. Emily.
Yeah.
How much money do I need to start selling on Amazon? Realistically, how much money do I need? And can you give me some perspective on how to do that? Because that can be really, really difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a really good question, one that I get all the time. And the really good news is that you don't need all of your money up front. That's the really good news, because a lot of people get really worried about, oh, I'm going to need thousands and thousands of dollars, and I don't have that, so I can't even start the course. My best advice to you is start the course and learn as you go, and then file for things like your trademark or for your LLC or things like that as you go through the process. And you can pay with that with even business funds. So you could even begin selling before you even apply for a trademark. I've been selling for 10 plus months now, and I don't have a registered trademark yet. So there's a lot of strategies involved. And something else that I think is really important to this question, it's a kind of a side answer, but something very important that I would do differently this time around when I was picking my second product, is really thinking through the difference between a good product and a bad product from a cash flow perspective, and not just from a viability in the marketplace perspective. So for example, my product, when it ships from China, it nests together. And if I were to have the factory prep my product for me and kind of take them out of that nest, it would be wildly inefficient for me to ship those by sea or by air, by any means. So that wasn't something that I knew going into this. And now this costs me more money because I have to get my product to the United States and then have it prepped. And I actually started doing that myself because I didn't have the cash up front, and I didn't want to spend the cash up front, I should say, to do that. So there's just an example of something to think through from a strategy standpoint when you're picking a product. Another one would be if you can ship your product in air versus sea. This is really important too, because cash flow management is obviously king. Cash is king is what people always say, and that's really true. And if you can get your product to you by air without it being super expensive anytime you need it, you can manage that cash flow a lot better up front. And that means that you need less money to get started. Another thing that I've been telling people who I've been coaching is that the sweet spot of this is if you could find something small and lightweight that's, from a price perspective, from the consumer's perspective, is an expensive item. So what comes to mind first is probably electronics, and it could be that, or it could be something else. But that's really the sweet spot for you, because that means you can get started right away without a lot of cash. Because if you can airship this whenever you need, essentially drop ship it to yourself or to Amazon, and you're going to get a lot of cash every time that somebody purchases this from you, you can start with very little cash in your bank account and get started and be successful much faster than if you pick a big product or something that's only advantageous to ship by sea to preserve margin, things like that. So to sum that up, the really good news is you don't need a lot of money to get started. You just need a lot of strategy so that the cash that you do have, you can use really well. So I would encourage you, be very strategic in your money management, and put things off that you can afford to, like your trademarks, your business name, your business development, things like that. And that should be a good reason to get started quickly and to be successful quickly. You're frozen on my end, Seth. Can you hear me?
Some of you guys, lowest I've ever seen anyone.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yep, I can hear. Okay. The lowest I've ever seen someone do it is for $500, and that's just for the products themselves. So one of the keys that Emily's talking about as well is you want to put your money back into your business. One of the most important things is move to cash as quickly as you can. This is why when I started Emily, started doubling a dime, sold everything in my house I didn't need, started selling on eBay, and I just started moving quickly to cash. I needed to get money to make the business grow. For those of you guys who are more planners, you're super like, I got to plan everything out. Everything's got to be set. It's going to frustrate you. And here's why. If you plan out all your expenses for the first year of your company, you're probably not going to have enough money to do it. That's why you need to make money from your company and then put that money right back into the company. It's sort of like having a staff member. They're producing for you, but you're also paying them, which feeds them, which allows them to produce for you. That's exactly how you want to treat your companies. You want to be putting back into the company. So don't look at it this way. Hey, what are all the possible expenses I'm going to have? First of all, you're not going to know all of them, and you're not going to be able to anticipate all of them in advance. And second, you need to move to cash quickly. And when you do, you can put that money back into your company. So a reasonable number, $3,500 for your first product, including shipment, is a reasonable within scope. And again, like Emily said, it depends on the product. It could be $6,000. It could be $1,500. It depends. What's really important, though, guys, is that you don't wait until you have enough money to get everything started. If you do that, you're really going to get frustrated because it's going to cause you to struggle. You're going to be like, man, how do I get enough money to make this happen? You want to be in the business making money as you go. See what I mean? And that's why, even though it sounds super romantic to fire your boss and it's awesome, as I've told many people, you don't want to fire your boss until you actually, I recommend this, until you have enough money coming in from your Amazon business to fire them. So we have people doing 20, 30, 40,000 a month, students of just one dime, and they're still working for their company. Some because they love their company. Their goal isn't firing their boss. They just want to make more money on the side. Does that make sense, you guys? Hope that's really helpful. Emily, so when you start off, at what stages would you recommend doing certain things? In other words, you got your trademark, you can start as a sole proprietorship, which is a lot less expensive than LLC, which is less expensive than a C Corp. So do you have any kind of step-by-step process you would recommend from the beginning all the way to beginning to scale when it comes to the money you spend to grow your business?
Yeah, part of that is going to be a lot of strategy decision on each individual seller's parts, because for me, for example, with my product right now, there's nothing proprietary about it. So my only fear really is getting a hijacker on my site or something like that. But there's nothing that they're going to be able to really infringe on, just really copy my idea. In the future, with future products that I plan to bring to market, I have much bigger concerns about trademark infringement, IP, intellectual property, things like that, as well as insurance, because maybe it's in a category that demands the insurance, or at least it would be really wise to have it. So there's no kind of one-off answer that's kind of true for everybody. But what I would say is, if you're in the Just One Dime course, there's a lot of information within the start course that goes over things you need to know later, trademarks, LLCs, things like that. I would say after you've found a product and you've got product on the way to Amazon's warehouse, that's when you really need to start thinking about, do I want an LLC in place to protect me? If you don't at that point, that might be where you want to get insurance instead. So everything is going to be kind of a trade-off of cash flow. And then once you get into the growth stage, when you've established your brand and you're kind of zooming along now, that's another really good point to look at your product and protecting it, growing it, optimizing it, making sure that people can't either outright copy you or steal your sales, things like that. So I would say at the beginning, don't worry about it. After you've got product on the way to the Amazon warehouse, that's when you should start thinking about it. And once you've done proof of concept in the marketplace, that's when you should really spend the money to do that kind of checklist for building your brand and your business.
For those of you guys who may not know, Emily is a Just When I'm student. She's also now Just When I'm coach. She launched less than a year ago. She did 18,000 last November. How much did you do in the last quarter again, Emily?
I was just shy of 50,000 at 43% margin.
Okay, so just to give you guys perspective, 50,000, just shy of 50,000 in the last quarter, in the last 3 months. And this is not just moving money, we're talking about profit. So she knows what she's talking about. She also spoke at Ecom 2019. If you guys are wondering why my face is a little bit washed out, it's because I'm in Hawaii. And Hawaii does that. It's beautiful here. It's a little bit brighter than I expected, but we just thought it'd be really cool to do a live video right here outside. You can hear the roosters crowing because it's 7:44 a.m. here. Okay, some really good questions came in, and I just want to give you guys one more tip. In fact, let me answer the question. So the question from VJK is, I have $5,000. How can I manage it? So if you're talking about generating cash on Amazon, here's what you want to do. You want to first open up your Seller Central account. First thing. That will cost you nothing. Now, if you get a professional seller's account, it's going to cost you just shy of $40 a month, but it gives you access to a lot more tools. And if you plan on growing quickly, that $40 a month is very worth it. You'll make the money back fast. Second, when you open your account, they're going to ask for one of two types of identification, either your social security number or your LLC. I recommend you give them your social security number first, and that means you're now a sole proprietorship. So you are the business is you. There's no separation between the two. Later, you can focus on setting up an LLC, which is not hard. It's not super expensive. In Texas, it's under $250. It's going to vary based on the state where you register it. And you don't have to live in the US to do this either, by the way, guys. Once you've done that, you're going to start researching products. You're going to find ones that have high demand and low competition and huge opportunity to differentiate, to make yours different. And just as Profit Business Guru said, you need to start with a product that will work with your budget. So that 5,000 could be completely to getting those products built, having them shipped, and you have a little bit left over for PPC. This is why having good profit margins is so important. I know it's tempting to go with a cheaper product at the beginning, but the reason I don't recommend it is it's really, really hard to make if you're not differentiated, and you'll end up spending more money long term than making money if your product isn't standing out. What do I mean by that? If I search for your main product and it pops up, there's got to be an immediate, obvious reason I would buy yours over the competition just based on the title and main photo. That alone has to be super obvious. And Emily even talked a lot about this from an invention level when she was in Los Angeles at Ecom 2019. Can you hear me okay,
yes,
Emily?
Yes, I can.
Okay, awesome. Yep, those are roosters you hear, Brother Patrick. That's absolutely exactly what it is. Thank you so much, Stacy. We loved it. Ecom was absolutely astounding. By the way, I like to say this publicly. So we sent out surveys, and Emily, we asked who were people's favorite speakers, and you were number 2 so far.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, I won't tell you who number 1 was. It's a super cool anonymous survey, and guys, we go very, very in depth on allowing people to share what they want. We don't know who said what, so people are free, and I thought that was just pretty awesome.
Thank you.
Congrats,
that's awesome.
Emily. But okay, so guys, let's go back to this again. So a couple more questions. Someone said a trip to Hawaii. Yes, I am in Hawaii. I'm in Hawaii because I sell on Amazon. How about that? Yeah. And you can as well. Okay, Verid says, hey, Seth, can we work with suppliers from 1688? It seems like most of them accept only wire payments and not secure payment methods. Great question. First of all, I'm curious, how are you talking to suppliers in 1688, Verid? Are you using Google Translate? Are you using WeChat that translates? Because the majority of them only speak Mandarin Chinese. They do not speak English, with some exceptions. Now, a wire transfer isn't insecure. What it is you just can't get the money back. It's not like it's an insecure, shady form of payment. It's a very legit, in fact, it's the the most common form of payment to any supplier in the world. What you do is you 30% up front. Then you pay less later on. You do the 30-70 principle. First, you send them a down payment. They produce it. Then you send them the rest after you have a product inspection conducted for that. Man, I look like I'm almost like on a cartoon or something, like I'm not real. It's getting so wiped out. It's cracking me up. Oh, my word. Let me see if I change a little bit my shift here. Is that a little better? Not really better. Not really better. Not really. That should work. Okay, cool. To you anyways, guys, to Manuel. Great question. Kathy says this. Did you say that a trademark is cheaper than an LLC? It depends on how many categories you are getting trademarked for. So Emily, do you remember for your product? So you are currently in the process of getting it trademarked?
Sorry, it cut out. I'm currently what?
So you are currently in the process of getting your product trademarked?
I haven't actually started the process on that yet. I do have an LLC in place, but I don't have a trademark at this point. I just use the TM.
Gotcha. Okay, so you're using the TM. Guys, you can use the TM in order to claim that that brand name is yours if you want. It doesn't mean it's yours, you're just claiming it to be. But when you actually get an official trademark, it gets the little R with the circle around it. That means it's registered, which means no one can use it without your permission, and you have legal rights to pursue them if they don't. So it depends. So to go back to your question, Kathy, it depends on how many different product categories you apply for a trademark. So the more product categories you apply for, the more cost there's going to be per product category. They're called classifications on uspto.gov. And LLC is going to vary state by state. But in a disrespectful way at all, Kathy, this question shouldn't be an important question yet. Here's the real question. Are you making money in Amazon? Are you moving to cash? Are you researching products? If you're making money, you're not going to even care about like, oh, is it LLC? Of course you'll do it. It's a business investment. There are companies out there who will spend 50 million, so they make 250 million. So you might spend 50 to make 1,000. You might spend 500 to make 10,000. See what I mean? So don't worry. Don't look at it as a view of cost, you guys. Look at it as a view of managing resources. This is why I like the question. The guy who's $5,000. You're going to move to selling products that are differentiated as fast as you can. Then as you grow your business, you're going to put money back into that. One more thought, guys. Make sure you have profit margin. If you have profit margin, then it's not so big of a how much money you have or don't. Because if you have margin, that means you're going to get that money back, which means you can use it to run PPC, to optimize, and to make more money. The most important question is going to be, do I have profit margin? Am I differentiated? And how do I manage my resources? That's the kind of perspective you guys want to have as a business owner. All right, next question, Emily. I'm hurting your eyes with the sun. Yep, I know. This is just a cartoon, guys. Here, let me walk back. Let me see if I can walk back into this brush and see if that makes it. Yeah, it's not going to make any difference. Here, let me just walk this way. I'll head over to shade, and maybe that'll help a little bit. There's a shady spot up here. Okay, but we'll keep going with the questions. I've been using Jungle Scout and Viral Launch for product research. Awesome, Raymond. After 1 year membership with Jod, do we still have access to the training video? So it's an annual subscription, you guys. So it's not like lifetime where you just pay one payment and you're in. We do have a lifetime membership option, but as the price is much higher, understandably, because you're not just getting a course. You're getting 5 hours of live, updated, fresh coaching every single week, ongoing, continually, and updated courses constantly, 5 courses. So yeah, so it's an annual subscription. If you have questions about it, just email help@justonedime.com, and they should be able to help you with that. All right, next question. Let's see. Is that better, guys? Can you see me? Okay, cool. All right. Chris says, I set up as a limited company in the UK. Got my trademark approved today. Congratulations, Raymond. That's awesome. Placed orders today with suppliers, different countries from my bundled product. Thanks to the training here. Thank you, Just One Dime. Raymond, congratulations, brother, and keep on going. That is so cool, man. Where in the world would you start to find a product? Lisa, I would recommend you'd start with Amazon.com and Amazon. We have a full training membership that show you how to do this, and start with keywords. What are people already searching that indicates a market demand? The two plans. This is how we go. Amazon.com software, and just we're looking for rubber pencils with pink tops. Okay, so a rubber pencil with the pink eraser, for example. Okay, interesting. What is the problem? Well, the problem is the pink erasers keep falling off. How can I fix that? I'm going to use a superior product, a superior glue to fix it. You create your product, you build a superior one, and people start to buy it because yours is differentiated. There's many more steps involved, but if you really want to break it down, simply this: you're saying, what do people want? I will give them what they want, and that will make you money as a result because they'll research and how to get started. Pay you because what you're offering is worth it.
Hey, Seth, are you still there? I couldn't hear if you asked me a question.
Oh, no worries. I was just saying, what would you add to that when it comes to how do I start doing projects? How to begin? Where do I begin?
Okay. Yeah, so I totally agree with Seth. I always start within the marketplace. One way that I do this, and I talked about this at Ecom 2019, is I actually start outside of research tools and I go and do a lot of research on Pinterest to try to find a niche that has a problem for which I intend to provide a solution. After I find a group of people, usually a group that I wasn't aware of to start with, I start reading through all the kind of like subject matter expert content that's been put on Pinterest already. And then I go and look for blogs and other things to support that. After I get a feel for a significant problem, I then go to Amazon.com and start seeing what products might meet that need or where I could fit into a niche with maybe a new product or maybe a repurposing of an existing product for a new category. And then I try to see if that makes sense to bring to the marketplace. And I use a Maze Owl actually exclusively as a research tool to kind of confirm or disprove what I already think or know to be true based on the market. I don't like starting within research tools and going product hunting because I find that that either leads me to create a Me Too product or it encourages me to sell a product when I don't know who I'm really selling to. And so I do a lot of market research first, and then I go and identify a problem and a solution and see if the demand is there.
Guys, notice that Emily talks about problems and solutions. All you're really doing, guys, is you are solving a problem by bringing a better solution. That's it. There's a problem, you bring a solution, and the transaction results in money in your bank account to create margin so that you have freedom to do the things you love with the people you love. Guys, if I didn't think the way Emily was just talking, I would not be here in Hawaii right now on the island of Oahu. And yesterday I went to Maui and Molokai as well with my wife and able to enjoy that kind of margin because Amazon's not just giving me money, I'm selling on their platform, and that creates margin for me so that I can do the things that I love. And I know many of you guys here are doing that as well. Raymond, I would go with Viral Launch over Jungle Scout based on my experience. They're more accurate, 100%. Do you recommend? No problem, Kathy. And great questions, by the way, Kathy. Kathy, think about what Emily said. You're going to start by solving a problem on Amazon that people are already looking for. Snez Gurk says, do you recommend selling one line of products or can be random? So if you're doing arbitrage, random is great. If you're building a brand, I just use the pencil as an example again. If people buy the pencil, that kind of customer is also more likely to buy other office type equipment. Therefore, you're building a brand around an office oriented customer, or a customer perhaps who likes cooking, or a customer who likes outdoor sports. See? So when you do that, it'll save you time because those same kind of people will tend to give you reviews on your other products. They'll tend to buy. You can build a relationship with them and build a brand off of that. Emily, what are your thoughts on this? I know you're in the process of researching your second product right now. What are your thoughts on building the brand and creating a line of products versus random ones?
Yeah, so I totally agree with what you said. And I had every intention of continuing a product line because the feedback I got from customers is that my product performs the way my listing claims that it will. And so I'm building trust with my customers, and I'd like to carry that to other products. I've received a lot of samples, even from the factory from which I currently source for other similar products. and the quality is not the same because of the manufacturing processes and the limitations of the material and so on and so forth. It's not, it doesn't meet the kind of claim to fame or my value proposition of my first product. And I don't want to dilute the brand value that I've created so far by offering a slightly better but mostly inferior product, kind of like what's already on the marketplace. So for my second product, I'm actually going to go a completely different direction because I found a neat little idea, and it's going to be very inexpensive for me to test it and to kind of run it even just as an exercise, if nothing else. And
Yeah.
so at this point, I'm not going to follow that route. But if I had the choice, I definitely would. Found the right product to continue building out that brand at this point.
And that's the cool part, guys. When you launch your first product, you have so much more knowledge for your second, and you will tend to make fewer mistakes. You will make mistakes along the way. We all do. I still make many mistakes along the way. But you can use what you learned from the first one to build a better one for the next. So for example, let's just say you build a product and you realize you focus so much on the perceived value and not the real value. The packaging was beautiful, but the actual product itself was too much the same. And 2 months later, someone else was doing really beautiful packaging, even better than yours. Now it's harder to compete because it was just based on perceived value. That's one lesson type thing you could learn as you go. Let's see, Chris says, when first launching, should I use all advertising tactics at the same time or stagger them? PPC, Facebook, Instagram. So for your launch, use Facebook and Instagram for your launch. In other words, use that to drive them to Amazon's giveaway page. And as a result of that, when they buy the product, they're much more likely to give you a review, especially if you include a gift with it. And it helps you to it triggers an algorithm that helps you to sell faster than if you weren't doing that. It was so interesting, guys. At Ecom 2019, Amazon was there. We did a live Q&A session where we read the questions people wrote down, and we just sat there on stools. And one of the things they talked about is Amazon is moving more and more towards protecting brands, and one of the steps for that is doing it based on the brand value and its recognition versus just a trademark. In other words, Amazon's thought is this: if people recognize your brand and they love your brand, then that's a brand. Getting it trademarked doesn't make it a brand. Sticking a logo on your product does not make it a brand. So keep that in mind, guys. It's about building trust. That's how you do it. Back to your question, Chris, when you launch, you're immediately, can you guys hear that? I'm not kidding you. Pearl Harbor, over there, they do this every morning. It's pretty cool. Can you hear that, Emily?
I can. That's awesome.
It's really cool. The other day I was out here and I was just walking, and it was like I was just having quiet time and praying and stuff and thinking, and all of a sudden, boom. Sophisticated studio. That's really cool. All right. So all you Americans in the room, please enjoy the moment of page. Okay, next question. Home inspection. Typically, those can cost anywhere from $150 is the lowest I've ever seen to $300-400. It depends on how many products, how complicated it is. What you're going to do is you're going to ask them. They're going to give you around 20-25% of the products is what they'll inspect, which is typical. You don't need all of them inspected because they're trying to get a sample, an idea of how effective or how well they were built. And you're going to tell them exactly what you want them to inspect. So for example, one of our products is more complicated. It's a toy, it's mechanical, it has a battery. And so there's a lot more that goes into testing the product. But there's other products we have that are very simple. All it has to be tested for is, does it leak or does it not? And you have to put in different kinds of liquids to make sure it doesn't. And every time we have it produced, all those different liquids are tested from thicker to thinner liquids to make sure it doesn't leak. So it depends on how much work they have to do. It is worth the investment. And remember, guys, if you made sure you're profitable, it's not going to be an issue that you had to pay a few hundred for an inspection so that you are sure your customers are happy. Because here's what you don't want: a product showing up at Amazon's fulfillment center, people start buying it, and then they start complaining about the issues just because there was no inspection. That would be horrible. So to answer the other part of your question, what is the easiest and safest way to ship my product from China to the US? So it depends on what freight forwarding company you go with. I would start with your supplier, ask them if they have a freight forwarding option, get the cost, find a few quotes. It's very rare that you can ever negotiate on shipping charges anyways, and I wouldn't even recommend it. But sometimes some suppliers might lower the cost of the product than try to make up for it in the shipping. That's why I recommend you get a few quotes and then run with the one that you think is the best. Shipping is pretty automatic. There's nothing, it's logistics. There's nothing beautiful about it. There's nothing amazing and fancy. It's what it is. And you need to find a company that does this full time, and they have what's called a customs agent that is built into the shipping company, just like UPS does, just like DHL, just like FedEx. By the way, you could go with any of those companies if you want, but the costs tend to be higher than if it's a freight forwarder based in China. So again, my favorite resource is I go back to the supplier whom I trust and have them take care of it for me as long as I know the costs. I hope that's helpful, Humberto. It's hard to give you more specifics unless you were like listing multiple shipping companies and I can tell you which ones I know, which ones I don't. How has shipping been for you, Emily? How
So
do
I
you do it?
actually I got quotes when I first started shipping and found that my manufacturer could provide great service. I got to a point where I really trusted them, and now they handle door to door for me, which is fantastic. It's kind of a set it and forget it. When I reorder, it comes to me, it's the best price I can get, and we can track the shipping along the way if I have questions. And so it's worked really well just to use the manufacturer in their in house shipping service for that.
Thank you, Emily.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going. So, has anyone had success with USA suppliers? Me, David, I have. Um, Guys, go to Cole Imports, KOLE Imports. They are located in Los Angeles. If you're just starting off and you want to work with a U.S. supplier, they can help you and work with you. If you need massive differentiation, it's not going to work. But if it's something more minor, like, hey, here's a product we need, here's a differentiation, can you find a supplier to do this for me? It will save you a lot of hassle. You don't have to deal with customs fees and import and all of that. Let's see, is there a course available for retail arbitrage? Natalia, there is, but it is currently a waiting list. So if you just email help@justoneDime.com, actually just email me, seth@justoneDime.com. I can send you the link for the waiting list. We have a new arbitrage membership coming out very soon. All right, no problem. Superu, you got it, brother. I was thinking of starting with 100 pieces to see how it goes. What do you think? Do you think that's too little? What are your thoughts, Emily? Someone's talking about starting with 100 pieces for their first product.
So two things come to mind. When I started as a student with Just One Dime, I met with a coach, and his advice was never do less than 100 units as far as Amazon warehouses go. And he didn't have a specific reason for it so much as Amazon seems to like it better because they can distribute it across the country and it's not like 20 units, which they can't do much with. So I've always kind of followed that rule. I've always ordered at higher quantities because for me, the turnaround time to get product, it's way too expensive for me to use air shipping as opposed to sea shipping. So the two questions are how quickly can you get inventory if you sell through that very quickly? And two, if you could afford to do more upfront, I'd say it's probably a good idea. Just because if you only sold, let's say 10 per day, if you ramped up to 10 per day, you'd be out of that 100 units very quickly. And even with air shipping, that's going to be hard to get inventory in time. So,
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good point. Here's a strategy you guys can use as well. Buy the product or something similar to your product from an actual local retail store like Walmart or Target. Sends in as a test and run PPC on that and use the data from that to figure out what people want. Then your confidence level goes up, and then you can even do a bigger quantity if you want. But like Emily said, you don't want to go under 100. Here's the thing. Let's just say you sell and you sell really fast. Well, during that time, if a hijacker hops into your listing, then you can't close it. Then you lose all that sales history that you had, which means your BSR is going to be much higher when you open back up again than it was when you were selling. So it creates complications. So I understand the tension. On one side, you're thinking, well, wait, if I buy a ton of them, what if it doesn't sell well? That's why I'm recommending using PPC to test it. On the other hand, what if I run out of inventory really fast and have very clear teaching on how to use PPC, which is the most effective way to understand product research on Amazon, how to use PPC to understand what customers are wanting. Because here's the key, guys. If you can find a product that people are searching and no one is selling, that's a gold mine. All right, next question. Let's see. Frank Week says, How do you get product reviews? My rated reviews are literally 2%. To make matters worse, when I get a review, it's usually a customer feedback, which does not appear in the product itself. Okay, Frank, great question. I'll take this one first, and Emily, feel free to throw in anything else you want to. First of all, my first question, Frank, is if reviews are the way you get sales, then your product is not differentiated correctly. Reviews are a factor. They do help conversion, but they should not be the main factor. In other words, your competitors could have 5,000 reviews and you have 0, all still buy your product. Clearly fixed a problem that they haven't. See? So if reviews are the way you get sales, then your product isn't built correctly, and that's going to create more issues. Okay? Second, your rated reviews are literally 2%. It's actually not horrible. I know it might feel that way. It's not horrible. It could be better, and I can show you some tips, and Emily could as well, on how to get it to be better. But rated reviews is going to be low compared to how many people actually buy the product. What you want to do with the product, you want to send out at least 3 emails that are automatically set up through Seller Central. And those 3 emails need to be the first one, hope you love your product. Any questions, let me know. Second one, if you have any problems, let me know. Third one, I would love for you to leave me a review. In other words, you're giving them every possible chance to reach out to you if they had a problem before they leave a critical review. And on the last one, when you ask them to leave a review, you can embed a link so it takes them directly to the review page instead of the seller feedback page, which should help with that. It's still going to happen, though. Very often we get reviews where it should be on seller feedback, where it should be on reviews. I love the product. It's a great product. Let me tell you all about it. And it's seller feedback. So that's something just to keep in mind, guys, as you do that. There's a lot more I could talk about this, but please, whatever you do, Frank, don't do incentivized reviews. Don't go pay for a service to do it for you. You can get your account suspended. It happens all the time. Amazon's gotten really good at hunting that down. Emily, how are you doing on reviews? Talk about that a little bit. What have you done to help that?
So right from the gate, I decided that I wanted to make all of my contact with my customers really personal. I know it's really tempting, or it makes sense even to say we, the customer service team, or our company, but I decided to go the other direction with it. And I didn't want it to feel home done, like I was doing this out of my garage necessarily, but I wanted them to recognize my name. I'm the business owner, I'm the founder. And when they receive communication from me, even those 3 follow-up emails, it's from me. And so when they contact me about a problem or whatever, they actually use my name and they say, hey, Emily, I have this problem. And when I solve it, I get a great review because they say, hey, this was a great product. Somebody messed up the shipping, but that's not Emily's fault. And she did everything she could to fix it, even though she didn't need to. And so they get like a handwritten note from me within the package that they feel like, oh my goodness, this business owner took the time to actually write something with a real pen, and things like that. And so I really try to personalize it. And I notice that if I buy something from Etsy and I get a little product insert, it really feels like it came from a person. But when I buy something off of Amazon, I get a pre-printed card that says, we hope you like this product. And even if I like the product, for me personally, even though I sell on Amazon, it's still hard for me to kind of muster up the desire to leave that review because it just feels so standardized. But on Etsy, you know it came from somebody and you kind of want to support their business. So I kind of tried to follow that model and it's worked pretty well for me.
Thank you, Emily. All right, guys. Let me just go back down to catch the next question. Yeah, Profit Business Guru is right. 2% is not bad, Frank. Okay, Mike says this. I'm a licensed electrical sign specialty contractor in Florida. I'm incorporated as a C Corp, and I'm looking to get into something different as a sign line side. That's a tongue twister, a sign line side. So first of all, brother, take the knowledge that you have specifically as a sign and ask yourself this question, looking for an Amazon in that particular product industry. Because you already have knowledge in the area, it gives you an advantage. Now, if you can find some people are actually looking, it's funny, as I'm saying this, Emily, I'm remembering one of my older YouTube videos about a stop sign and using it as an example of differentiation. Huge potential product back then. I don't know if it is. I have not looked at it since then. But there are people selling signs on Amazon, a lot of them. So if this is something you actually understand well, or specifically electrical signs, even if they're selling at $80, $90, $100 a pop, It gives you several advantages. Number one, your profit margins are better. Number two, the cost to keywords tends to be lower. Number three, when people do leave reviews, they tend to be very sincere and more long. There's a lot of advantages in selling higher price items than lower price items. Lower price items, you feel like you're always in a rat race. Like, there's price change and something changes and you lose your margin, you go up, and it's just more rush. Whereas the bigger items, they sell slower, but when you do sell them, you're sitting then to your bank account from Amazon every 2 weeks, which is nice. So that's where I would start, Mike. You absolutely can do this. And it's got to start with the belief. You got to every day take 2 hours just to focus on that. And if you're not a part of Just One Night, let us help you. Join us. Click the link below and join us. Todd said, this is so good. I'm on plane getting ready to take off from Dallas. No problem, brother. Good to see you, man. Thank you. Yes, Lisa, absolutely. What's up, Matthew? Reviews can average 1 per 100 items or even lower. Exactly. Quality, product, and time. Amen, brother. Nessa says, Nessus, grind from the home, grind hard, play hard. I love it. One of our terms that we use in our home, Nessa, is work hard, play hard. So I love that. Thanks for all the advice. Not too many people are willing to give it out for free. No problem. Coal is fast, time is money. Absolutely. I met with the manager, talked with them for a while in Los Angeles, met with them in person, did a whole tour. They're really cool, you guys. Coal imports. Okay, Nessa says, I have just got a logo. Do I need to register it first before I can start using it? No, you don't need to. Or can I use it as my logo even before registering? Here's the question. What that word is, Nas, you need to call it a knockout search. Use something like Knowem, KNOWEM.com, and find out if anyone else is using that same name, selling a product in the same category. So, for example, if it's a hairbrush for dogs, if someone is selling pet products using the same logo, let's just say the logo is Nas Khan, then that's where they could come after you and say you can't do that and you could get in trouble. So first do a knockout search, make sure no one else is using it. Then do like Emily, little TM superscript on your logo to say, I'm claiming this. This is mine. This is my logo. This is my trademark or future trademark. And then later you can register for it. Great question. I got 4 products from Cola Ecom. That's awesome. Profit Business Gurus. That's super cool. All right. They break up your orders to different warehouses. Yeah, they're super cool. And they will ship it to Amazon for you guys. Okay, how often do you do these live chats? Every Wednesday. Every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Central Texas time is when we do these live chats. All right, we're going to do one more question, guys. And I just want to say thank you, Emily. I know we started much later today because of internet. Thank you, everyone, for your patience, and I hope this is bringing a ton of value to you. By the way, guys, just really quick, it's hard to see now. I'm going to walk over here. Hopefully I don't cut out too much. But Pearl Harbor's right over there. That's a little harbor area, flat water. It's beautiful. It's like a little lake. I'm in Hawaii. I went to Molokai yesterday. I was at Maui the day before that with Kimberly. Now I'm here on Oahu with my family, and we're just having an amazing time. We're working and playing, and we're mixing it. Guys, you can do this too. There was a day when I could not afford to do this. It's very expensive in Hawaii. But I was telling Kimberly last night, we don't even feel it. And I don't mean that in an arrogant way, guys. I don't even feel it. We're not wasteful with our money. Heck, we've shopped at Goodwill in Hawaii. Like, we're very careful with our money. But you can get to this point. But you have to start. Stop wondering. And you got to begin, guys. You have to get over those objections in your mind and say, look, I can make this happen. I believe I can. And then act on it. And the more you act on it, the more your confidence will build. Okay. Nessa says this. How do you know if you're going to end up on the first page of search results if there are so many search results for a certain product? I understand the rule of thumb you go by. Only about the first 20 matter. So I just don't understand how you know you're going to end up on the first page of search results if there's so many. Great question, Nessa. And I'm going to take a shot at this, and then Emily, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Can you hear me okay,
Yes, I
Emily?
can. Yep.
Okay. Here's what you want to do. Okay. Here's what you want to do, Nessa. You want your product to fix a problem better than all those competitors. And sometimes it may not just be better. It could be in a very different way. So let me use this illustration I've used before. I love this illustration. I could sell a toothbrush that has softer bristles than anyone else is selling because they get into the gums better and they clean the teeth better. That's an example of a superior version of a product. Or I could come out with an electric toothbrush, which is a whole better way of doing it. It's not just one part of it. It's the entire product is remanufactured. Or I could come out with floss. It also cleans the teeth, but is actually, according to most dentists, more important than brushing your teeth. So I just use 3 examples to give you sort of a template to go by, Nessa. You want to start with, what do people need? What is no one else doing well that I could do better? once you figure that out, it makes it so much easier to rank because people are looking for specifically what you are offering that no one else is doing. You see? Now, instead of worrying about how do I show up on the first page, you know you will. You're confident you will. I shouldn't say you know well, and how to just get it showing up using PPC. Once it's there, how well does it convert? See what I mean? So you really have to allow all those other competitors, the thousands of them, just let them go. Focus on those top 20, the top high competitors, top 15, and ask what are they not doing well that you could do better. If you focus on that and you take your steps right, you can make it happen. And again, we teach all of this in just one-time courses. Emily, what are your thoughts on this question? It's such a great question.
Yeah, this is an awesome question, and one that I've been kind of mulling over for probably a couple months because this is what I want to become an expert at. So, what we need to think about as sellers is how to put a great product in the marketplace where people are already looking for that solution. And like you said, the way you do that at first is through PPC because you're probably not going to show up on page one organically. But to use your example, let's say people are looking for a better way to brush their teeth, but let's pretend dental floss doesn't exist yet. It might be confusing when people see dental floss at first. So you could do one of two things. You could make the dental floss look extremely interesting. Almost, I don't mean this literally, I'm only using the term clickbait in the sense of like, I've got to know what this is. Or you could do more than a one-off change to a regular toothbrush, but something that's providing a lot more value, but is also very obvious when people see it why it's better. So for example, a manual toothbrush versus an electric toothbrush. People get that it's a toothbrush either way, but if I see electric and I've never seen that before, that's going to be really intriguing to me. So the 20 competitors matters in the sense of your spot on the first page after you've used effectively, your ability to stay there. And that's why we analyze that first page of results. But if you create something that's just so much better than the competition's, you'll basically knock someone off the first page so that you can land there because people will be super intrigued by your value proposition. And one thing I would just add to that to keep in mind, and I wish I knew this with my product more than I did the first time, it has to be obviously better, just in your photo and your title, as you mentioned earlier, Seth. Because my product, I believe, is literally better, but it's harder to talk about in just a photo and a title. So, yeah.
It's true. It's true.
Yep.
In other words, what you just talked about was perceived value. So let's say my bracelet from Hawaii, it's better than everyone else's. These shells don't break easily. It's a superior product, guys. They're from some far off 2 mile deep. I don't know. I'm just making that up. But you get what I'm saying, guys. This is better. How do they know it's better? How do they know? They're not going to read your whole product description, your bullet points, and spend 40 minutes that you spent, well, you probably spent 40 hours building that listing. They have to know immediately. That first photo has got to be obvious. Okay, we'll take one more question. We'll wrap it up. So Todd, no problem. He says, I don't necessarily have to do sign-related items for Amazon. Since I'm already established legally, I'd like to gain, again, as Emily said, find my niche and take it from there. So what I recommend you do, brother, is start with keywords. In other words, pick a product category, just search one broad keyword like barbecue. Boom, you search it. And you start looking for what people are searching in Amazon. And then you find a niche in there and start finding, okay, wait, there's a lot of people searching for barbecue grill light, LED barbecue grill light. That's a cluster. Now I realize there's demand for this particular product niche. Now you study the competition and the differentiation opportunity. And the awesome thing, guys, here's what's really fun, you guys. On Amazon, it's like an adventure. It's like, I don't know if you read these books at all as a kid, Emily, but I used to read the Choose Your Own Adventure books. I loved them. I thought they were so cool. And you get to pick where you want to go. Like on Amazon, you have all these product categories. You can launch just about anything. And if your if you're gated in that category, you sell in another category until it's open. So it's like exploring this new island. I wonder why I'm talking about islands right now. And you're just looking at all these different options, and you get to choose how you want to build your business, guys. That alone is freedom. I started Amazon not just because I wanted to make a lot of money. I started because I wanted freedom. And just the idea of building something on my own and creating it and generating that wealth and making customers happy, there is joy in that, you guys. And you can make this happen. I hope that everyone watching right now, any excuse that your mind comes up with, any excuse that you will assassinate assassinate that excuse, kill it, completely destroy it, murder the excuses, and go over here and make it happen. Emily, any last words before we go?
I would just say I was just reading this article in the Wall Street Journal about this couple that lost all this money in a training course. And the reason for it was because the guru disappeared after a little bit of time and there was no course content being updated. And the thing that I love about Just One Dime is that neither of those things are true. You guys know Seth is giving all this free content and he's here. He wants you to succeed. That part is obviously genuine. And then the course content is insane. I mean, I went to business school and I've gone through every single video multiple times, up to 5 in all of the 5 courses, and gotten extremely valuable information that would have saved me thousands. And I started selling before I joined. So genuinely, I'd say excuses aside, assassinate them, as Seth said, and really join us today so that you guys can change your life for the better too.
Absolutely. And guys, the link
Yep.
below, click it and you can see all the on that. I have an idea, Emily.
Yeah.
So Pipra Boseco asked a great question. Here's this question. What do I need to do if my product doesn't stick on page 1 after launch in aggressive PPC? So let's make that our leadoff question for next Wednesday. What do you say?
So I would say most likely your listing is not optimized properly. This exact same thing happened to me. I didn't actually do a launch. I did just PPC and it worked great for the first week. And then I thought, how come this isn't sticking? I'm making enough sales for it to be sticking, and it wasn't sticking. So what changed that for me? I met with a Just One Dime coach. We fixed my title, and all of a sudden stuff worked. I stuck, and I'm on page 1 for my major keywords. So take a look at your title, and if you need help with that, that's something that Just One Dime can definitely help you with.
And Emily, I think I cut out because, because what I said was
Oh.
what I said was let's make that question our leadoff question for next Wednesday.
Oh,
but
sorry.
no, it's okay. It's totally fine. We'll still do it. So Pepper, there you go. There's
Okay.
a short answer. We'll go more in depth next Wednesday. We'll start with that. Awesome. Guys, thank you so much, Emily, for being here. Everyone, I hope this has been super helpful to you. Keep on going. And again, I want to challenge you with this. Okay? I'm in a little tiny airplane flying over to Maui. Then later we got off that, went to another airport. As a surprise to Kimberly, we got on what's called Blue Hawaiian helicopters. We're in a helicopter in the front, in the cockpit, flying around Maui, exploring. It was amazing. And in my mind, I'm sitting here thinking, what do I want to do next? What is the next thing I want to do? Guys, that kind of freedom is so empowering. Start now today. What would you love to do next? What is it, guys? And if selling on Amazon will give you the money to do that so you could be anywhere else in the world, you need to start, guys. Get out there and do it. If you want us to help you, we will do everything we can to bust our butts to help you get there. But either way, start, you guys. Go out there, make money, build wealth, and I hope I see you guys in person at Ecom United Kingdom. See you guys later. Bye,
guys.
Emily. Thank you.
Thanks.